Come on, you don't appreciate the bishop. Look at him. All right, what up? Come on, what up, man? Hey! Come on! Just for our live stream, just so you know, if you haven't been here, he's better looking and much more cooler than he even appears to be online. I'm just telling you, it's worth coming to see him. I mean, it's got everything. I said to my wife, I love it here because everywhere we go, it's an event. Now, an event, it brings a lot of pressure in some ways. I don't mind that at all. But everything's an event when they know we're coming, and I like that. But here, it's an event of the events. It is here. I mean, it is just, how about this worship team this morning? Incredible. Right? I mean, they're so good, the singers and musicians. I remember when we used to do tape or CD or whatever it was, and that was real good. This is better. Aren't they? I mean, nothing I love more than seeing him and hearing him exalted and magnified. It's the reason why we live. It's the music I love and adore. I appreciate the songs written about us and who we are, yada, yada. That's all good stuff. But there's nothing better than when he's exalted. And certainly these young people and our, I can't leave them out, though. How about our dancers? Oh, man. Oh. I had all I could do with to jump up and hug him in the middle of the... I just wanted to go, oh, girl, come on. Oh, it was hard for me. Yeah, I got on my knees. It was to magnify the Lord, but just so I wouldn't run over there and do that as well. It is such an honor to be, I hear what he said about me, but it is such an honor. Thank you, guys, gals. I'm such an honor for both Linda and I to be a part of this tremendous church, the Yates family, all of them. I have this thing, though, that I got a thing for the wife and the kids. And so when I don't see them, I ask. And if they're not showing up or they hide them somewhere, I say, I want to see them. Because they're very, very important to me. As I was whispering some things to them this morning about them. And it just really is. So it's an honor and a privilege for Linda and I to be a part. We're the ones who are blessed, really. I have a family here, too. My parents and my amazing cousins and my niece and my great-nephew are here as well. And so that's just so good, yeah. Yeah, beautiful. So if you haven't seen her, she absolutely is the better part of us. Some people don't really believe I'm married to Linda because they never see her. They look online and find pictures of her, and they always ask me, so how old are those pictures? I say, why? Well, Linda looks pretty young. I said, no, those were taken yesterday. So I do want you, in case you haven't had a chance to see her, I just want her to stand. It's my love, my baby. First Corinthians chapter 2. It was great. It was a great day yesterday. I want to say again, as I've said, and I will continue to say, that we are living in the greatest moment we've ever known in the history of the church in our generations. Probably in the history of our nation for sure. And because I love the biblical history, in many ways unprecedented in the world since the day Jesus Christ entered into our world. And in his ascension began something that I'll talk about in a few minutes. But if there's ever a day, my friends, for moms and dads to be anticipating the salvation of our God, it's today. If there's ever a day for grandmas and grandfathers to believe that their sons and daughters would once again come to the kingdom or back to the kingdom, it's now. If there's ever a day to embrace the promise of God, whether it came by dream or by counsel or by the prophetic word or by vision or by night vision, it's now. If there's ever a day to re-embrace it, and if you're listening now and you've been burnt by church, every one of us have had that time period. We all lived under the era of Moses, but all that's come to an end, and we're moving into another day of the Lord. It isn't a visitation. It isn't a season. It is an ultimate intention that he is bringing to pass that's always been in his heart. It will not end. It is just the beginning of it. So if there's ever a day of renewed passion toward him and the kingdom, to believe our God, let me just tell you, it's now. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, appreciate it. Listen, this church, see, I like being home and getting ready for church. And I don't mean getting dressed, I mean getting ready. So whether I'm preaching or not, and I do a lot of it though, yesterday I was the third guy on the list, and I just was like, yeah, let's go, I'm ready. And sometimes they'll say to me, Dr. J, are you tired? Of course I'm tired. I'm human. You got problems? Please. I'm in the real world. But what does that have to do with anything? I'm going to come every single day and wake up with an anticipation. What might the divine be desiring to do? And what I love about this church is you're already ready before we get here. I love it. That's what I'm saying to you. Listen, it's good to see it online. It's good. The live stream is great. People pick this up in other places. I hear about it. I've seen my face from this particular podium in pictures in other places. But it's worth coming to be a part of this. It's worth it. We love that you're here. We love that you're watching. We love that if you're not able to come, I'm glad we're able to bless you. It's great that you're having us in your home, but I just want to encourage you, man. There's just still nothing like being with him and being in the presence, especially with these amazing people. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 6. King James, hope you don't mind it. I love still the old language. Howbeit, or how it is that we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that came to naught. But we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery. It is still hidden. That's the idea. Even the hidden, the concealed secret wisdom which God hath ordained before the world unto our glory. Which, if none of the princes of this world knew, for if they had known it, they would have never crucified the Lord of glory. Verse 9, but as it is written, eye hath not seen, you quoted it yesterday, nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. Now, I just want to stop there just for a second, because this is not only a church for every man, every woman, every creed, color, every class of people, but this also will always be a training center. There'll be a day eventually that there'll be a full-time ministerial school, and probably, as me being involved, some kind of prophetic school in some way. Yes. So when you see a text in the New Testament, the term that they'll use is, it's a hermeneutic, a biblical hermeneutics, the science of interpretation. That's the technical term. I call it this. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. So what we want to do in this to be biblically, hermeneutically correct, or is we want to go, to the text of where Paul, the writer to the Corinthians, is quoting this from. It becomes very important to us. Isaiah chapter 63. Don't get caught up in the big terms. I'm just trying to impress you with my Bible knowledge. Aren't you impressed? It's really impressive, right? Ooh, that's the part I'm talking about. Ooh, yeah. It's a beautiful book. Isaiah chapter 63, verse 15. Look down from heaven and behold from the habitation of thy holiness and of thy glory. Where is thy zeal and thy strength? The sounding of thy bowels and of the mercies toward me, are they restrained? Doubtless thou art our father, though Abraham be ignorant of us, and Israel acknowledge us not. Thou, O Lord, art our Father, our Redeemer. Thy name is from everlasting. chapter 64, verse 1. Oh, that thou wouldest rend the heavens, that thou wouldest come down, that the mountains might flow down at thy presence. As when the melting fire burneth, the fire causes the waters to boil, to make thy name known to thine adversaries, that the nations may tremble at thy presence. When thou didst, King James says terrible, it was like, whoa, oh man, woo, joyous awesomeness. When thou didst terrible things, which we didn't look for, thou camest down and the mountains flowed down in thy presence. For since the beginning of the world, men have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither have I seen, O God, beside thee, what thou hast prepared for them that waiteth for him. Let's pray. Father, I thank you so for this incredible time period that we are living in. It is, without question, which I'm so thankful for, the beginning of your ultimate intention is that which you have hid in your heart since the beginning of the world. All you were looking for was a people longing for your ultimate intention. You have found them. It isn't just us, it's circling the world. A cry for our God, a desire for you. Not just your hand, not just your rain, not just a season, not just a harvest, but it's for you. Father, this morning, let the revelation of Jesus Christ be all of ours. Let the revelation of the kingdom of God, this kingdom that has been freely given to us, a kingdom that cannot be removed, a kingdom that has no limitations. That's the kingdom been given to us. That we would apprehend it, believe it. Father, I thank you for that in Jesus' name. Amen. The prophet Isaiah is the most prolific messianic prophet in our Bible. He will speak during the reign of 4 kings to the 5th one. It'll be Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. During the reign of Hezekiah, there'll be a brief reformation. He will begin to set the kingdom in order to a degree. The next one, Manasseh, is his son. He will be the worst of all the kings that there ever was. The prophet Isaiah in his life will see something that he could have never imagined would happen. 10 years before Isaiah 64 is written, the Assyrians, the great Assyrian nation, will move in to the northern tribe of Israel. They were split after the death of Solomon. The northern tribe had contained 10 tribes within this northern tribe. They were known as Israel, the southern tribe of Judah. Isaiah was placed in the southern tribe, and he spoke primarily to Judah and Jerusalem. He would watch in almost a shocking sight as the Assyrians came and they literally deported all of the 10 tribes. It amazes me. They became so cold and heartless toward their God. They no longer served him, and the judgment upon them was they were deported. And the Assyrians, as they did when they took a people, they replaced that land with other people. They would become what you and I will know as the Samaritans. The date is 722 BC. I'm just telling you this information because it's critical, because this prophet is going to react to what he sees. And here he is, he's watching this, and he's in disbelief that the people of God could turn this way. He's in greater disbelief that this judgment has come upon them. But he's watching as he is seeing his people in the southern tribe become worse than the people in the northern tribe. He's watching as the prophets say that your sister has become worse than her sister, talking about his own people. And there's a cry in his heart. See, I believe, especially over the last decade, but in many of our lives, there's become a cry. We have noticed our world and what's been happening to it. We have watched our nation. We have watched the history of the church, and there's been this cry in our hearts. Will you not rend the heavens, and will you not come down? He begins to say this incredible cry in the 63rd chapter, which is amazing to me. He said, do you not see from your place of your holiness? Where is your strength and your zeal? He isn't looking for judgment. He is looking for God to do something that only God can do. I love his words. He'll reach back and he'll say, Abraham would say he does not know us. It is an amazing indictment upon the people of God that Abraham, though he knew the promise, got the promise, if he looked ahead, he would say, I don't recognize you. There are some times that I've looked in here, and when I read this, I don't recognize what we've become in many ways. To what was God's intent? He has set a beautiful pattern here for us. Something that we don't have to attain to. We just believe and he'll do it. It isn't a pressure on us. And so the prophet says, even Israel does not recognize us. He begins this cry in this moment of despair. I don't believe it's been a despairing cry in our hearts. I believe it's been God doing something in all of our lives since the inception of my Christianity at 22 years old. I believe God at that very moment, as he has done in our lives, has put a cry in there that we were never going to look to some governments or to some men. Even though we need governments and we need men, we knew there was something greater for us. We knew there was something God wanted to do. We knew there was something God had hidden in his heart that he longed to bring into the earth. We knew it. Oh, that thou would not rend the heavens and that you would not come down, that your name would be made known to your adversaries and your enemies would behold your presence. As the water boils, he begins to say, as fire causes the waters to boil, so the mountains would melt down at your presence. I love what he's about to say. When you came down, we had no idea you would come in the way you came. I want to say this to us from a historical viewpoint. That's why I had to lay this history. At no time in Isaiah's life does the Lord ever come down in this manner. He is a prophet declaring something that was in his heart, and he prophetically is looking forward, and he sees God moving in such dimensions, it was beyond what he could ever say and think. He'll even say it as he's watching in a prophetic way, man, oh man, men have never heard it. They haven't even seen it, nor has it been in the heart of man what you have prepared for them since the beginning of the world. He says this about his people. For those who have waited upon you, I love it. The writer of the Corinthians is going to say it to those who love you. But I want you to see this for a moment. It isn't a waiting like this or like this. Or that hospital visit, that doctor's visit. That kind of waiting. Like we're waiting for something to happen. No. This is what I believe has been in our heart. This is this ambition to embrace everything he has. We're waiting as we're looking at him, toward him. There's a pride in our hearts. Will you not rend the heavens? But we will not make a change. We will not move. We will not concede. We will not withdraw. We will not quit. We are here waiting for that which has been in your heart since the beginning. I believe we've been in this very place. I believe it. Sure, there have been some, and if you're watching and there's been a withdrawing, isn't this beautiful? I love this about our God. You see, I, as a normal father, would remind my children about their mistakes at 2, 6, 20, 40. Now I have a 50-year-old. We'd remind them, well, you did that. Isn't it beautiful? He doesn't have that memory. Purposely doesn't. It isn't, Jay, you're back again. No, it's, Jay, come on in. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Today's a new day. Beautiful about him. The apostle will write it the same way. Eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, nor hath entered into the heart of men what God hath prepared for them who love him. It's from the beginning of the world. It was in him before he did a thing. This morning I want to do this. There are 4 events that changed and revolutionized the world in our biblical history. Some of them have already begun. Some this morning we are going to believe for because he is intending to do it. You with me? The first, remember, he's coming in a way we could have never dreamed of. It's going to cause a joyous awe. I want him, if you don't mind me saying it, to blow our minds. I'm looking for something in such biblical proportion. I'll have to go back here into the secret places in this thing and say, oh my God, there it is. There was a time in the history of our world that there was no world. There was eternity. There were three of them. There was the Father, the Word, and the Spirit. The three were one. We'll know it because John will write it, but they had a fellowship. They had a love that was beyond human. It was a love that could not even be recognized or understood. And the dream of the Father was that one day when they created, the creation would share in that same dimension of intimacy and fellowship. That was his dream. But they knew, because they had foreknowledge, that for that to happen, one day the Word would have to come. Because generations, though he would tell them, would never be able to comprehend the incredible love that they shared and this intimacy they shared. But there came a moment in the eternities when the Father decided to create, and the Word simply, as we know, spoke. The Hebrew writer will say that we know by faith that the worlds were framed by the Word, the voice of God. And so can you imagine it was nothing? He simply spoke, and the Spirit of God, which is this power that creates, there was nothing. And they just spoke, and the invisible world was created instantly. Instantly. They didn't touch it. They just spoke. The Word was spoken. His voice created the angelic, the thrones, the dominions, the principalities, the powers, all of the beasts, all of the angelic. Every invisible thing was created by just his voice. He spoke. It was the power of his voice. Then there was a time period, and he spoke what we see into existence. He just simply spoke it, touched nothing. Didn't lay hand, nothing, just spoke. And by the power of his voice, the universes were created instantly. What was not there was created by what was not there. He reached into the soil and simply breathed into dirt, and it became a living soul, the only thing he touched. But the Genesis would tell us that the earth was without form and void. They argue tons of books about it. Who cares? There it was, without form, and it was there. Now it's this dark thing, and here he is. He doesn't only create by his voice, but he's about to recreate by his voice. And so in this dark, desolate earth, he speaks, and light comes, and it separates, and it's dark and it's light. It's light or dark. It's light and dark, and he separates this, and he speaks water, he speaks fish, he speaks animals, he speaks seed. He commands things to be just by his voice, the power of his voice. See, I love when he speaks. I love it. I've loved it. I love speaking. I'm glad I do this. I'm thankful for this. I love prophecy. I love hearing men speak. I love hearing women speak. I love hearing people speak. But when the Lord himself speaks, it is a dimension beyond dimensions. Let me quote it for you. Isaiah chapter 62, verse 1. No need to bring it up. I'm just going to quote it. Thank you. For Zion's sake, I will not keep silent. There's been a time period where the voice of God has not been in the earth, because the voice of God creates what isn't and recreates what should be. And so he says it this way: for Zion's sake, I will not be silent. It's the answer of the watchman. For Jerusalem's sake, I will not rest until the righteousness goes forth as brightness, and salvation is a lamp that burneth. The Gentiles shall see your righteousness, and all kings your glory. I want you to know this morning that the voice of God has been released into the earth, And God is causing things to be that could not be without it. He is causing the rightness and things to be made right in every nation of the world, in every place in the world, in the lives of the church, in our lives. He's just making things right. Right this way, right this way, right this way. He's causing it to be. And I want you to know, I want you to be encouraged. Salvation is circling the earth like fire because he has declared it shall be. There's something happening already because the Gentiles, the world has looked at us and thought there's nothing there that we want. But I want you to know something's going on with us and something's happening with us, and the world's going to look at us and say, you know what? They got what we need and what we want. What a revolution! It's a revolution. Beautiful. But I want to say this to you too, because the text in Hebrews 11:3 is also translated this. By faith, you know that God has, he's by spiritual significance, he has marked off time periods of spiritual significances, so the things which will appear are made by things that have not yet been. And so please watch this. I want to finish this and move to the second one. What God did from the beginning of time was when he created the earth, he also spoke in spiritual things, spiritual dimensions over every generation. Many generations lived without embracing all that he declared. He is just looking for people. He will never force it upon us. But it's things that both Isaiah and Paul will say to us that they are prepared from the beginning of time. It's to the point where, listen, I want you to know, he's saying to us, I certainly know it. Listen, I want you to know something, Jay. I have not seen it. Well, I don't know, Lord. A lot of stuff's happened. No. I have not seen nor ear heard. And Jay, you think you dreamed? You haven't even received in your heart that which has been in me from the beginning that I long to demonstrate in your generation. I want to say in behalf of us and behalf of the church in the world, we say yes to you. We have a whole history of them. Our 11th chapter of Hebrews is a historical record of things that he declared there would be spiritual significances in every generation. We will not miss them all. Oh, he loves this world. And isn't it beautiful? He's created us and intended for us to be, by the word to Abraham, a blessing to every family, every one of them. That's who we are. We're here to bless people. He loves them and he loves us. It's a beautiful thing. So the first thing is, it's already occurred, is the Lord has uttered his voice. The whole world, the earth trembles at the voice of the Almighty. The whole earth is shaking, but it's super positive for us who believe. Even in my own life, he's shaking things off that don't need to be there. I don't want them. I don't want to be walking around carrying this podium thinking that I'm a free man. Look at me, I'm running my race. No, if that something's in my life, in our lives, that's hindering me, I want it out. Don't want it. Let every weight and sin that so easily besets us, let's lay it aside. That's the Hebrew cry. Second thing, he would say to Abraham, your people are going to go into a strange land for 400 years, but at the end of that 400 years, they'll come out, during that time, they'll be greatly oppressed, but they'll come out with great substance. Abraham had no idea, but that day would come. It would be that amazing time that we know as the Exodus. What a demonstration of power. No one knew yet the power of his might, not even Moses. But he made sure to Moses, he said it in such good King James, said, yo, Big Mo. I want you to tell my people something. The Big Mo was like, who are you? Don't worry, you'll know. You tell my people, tell Egypt, and you tell Pharaoh, and you tell the history of the coming world. Don't be afraid. I am God Almighty. And he will demonstrate a power that was incredible. And he'll deliver his people without a sword, without a spear, without a fight. 600,000 men. They'd been slaves. They had no idea what was happening. Even they were kind of at awe about the immensity of his power. Egypt would never become a great world power again. It would be the end of that nation ever ruling. They would get to the Red Sea, and as good as he was, an east wind would blow that Red Sea wide open, and they would walk across it that next day, and then he would close on those Egyptians. 3 months into what we know as the wilderness, the Sinai Peninsula. 3 months after that, they're already crumbling and complaining. We don't like the food. We wish we had some leeks. And I don't know, I want to go back to Leesburg. I just don't like it here anymore. I don't know why we're out this. I don't know why we got to do this thing. I don't know why I got to. And it's amazing, the Lord, he's so gracious. What does he do? All of a sudden, out of the sky comes something from God. Now, whenever something comes from God, I've got to take notice of this. And it opens up, and this fiery, thick, dark cloud with lightnings and thunders comes down and sits on Mount Sinai. They'll call it kavod is the word. It means, whoa, this is heavy, weighty. It wasn't volume, it was awe. And the mountain shook. It was the glory of God. We had no idea what this is. We never saw it before. We didn't know about glory. We didn't even know what this was. It's what God dwells in. It's his atmosphere. It's his oxygen. It's where he lives. It moved out of the heavens into the earth. Sinai shook at it. All the people backed off. They said, Moses, you go up. You know he went up there, because that's what it was. Moses had this passion, just like we do, just like you do, just like I do. I've got to see him. I've got to meet him in places I've never known before. I've got to see him where I've never seen him before. It's in all of us. And when he gets up here, he's got this cry, I want to see your glory. And Moses said, the Lord said to him, you can't see my face and live. No man can see my face and live. It can't be. But I'll set you in the rock, and I'll let my goodness pass by, and you can see my behind side. Man, it's so affected that he had the veil. But this glory of God is what separated the people of God from all the nations of the world. It wasn't the law. The law was a morality thing. It made them different because they walked different, they ate different. But it was the glory of God that was with the people of God that separated them from the world. It would be in Moses' tabernacle, it would be in Solomon's temple. I want you to know the glory of God is returning to the people of God. It isn't a thick darkness. It isn't smoke or a cloud. It doesn't blind us. It opens our eyes. It doesn't hinder us, it changes us. It reveals him as we peer into it. It's returning to the church in a way. It'll bring with it a demonstration of power that's unprecedented in our world. Come on. Prepare for it. The third thing, it would be the greatest game changer of all. It would be these shepherds watching their sheep. It was dark because Rome ruled the world. They were, without question, the most immoral nation to ever rule. They were a nation of mercenaries. The slaves ran the nation. They would take all the prominent people and enslave them so they would run the nation while they were just mercenaries. There was no value on anyone's life, especially children. No value at all. In Nazareth, they're unearthing bathhouses all over Israel. They were all over the world. All of a sudden, an angel showed up and the glory of God enveloped them. It was the first time that they'd ever seen it. And the shepherds are afraid. And I love this angel. He says, listen, fear not. Peace on earth, goodwill to all mankind. There's going to be a sign for you in the city of David, Bethlehem. You'll find a child wrapped in this swaddling clothes. He is the Christ, the Messiah. Man, they looked at each other. They thought, man, all those years that we were in Frontier Children's Church, I just thought they were making that stuff up. Come on. We just thought it was a fairy tale. It was real? Oh, yeah, it was real. It is real. And so they went down, and there he was. It was 100,000 people in Bethlehem, more than they could handle. They made their way, and there he was in his hewn-out rock, and it was this cave, really, but it was the place where he would be, this area with the animals and sheep and camels, and they were all around them, and here he was. They peered in. It was just an infant. It was the Savior. He had entered into the world, the promise from the garden. There he was. They had no idea. They looked. Even men walked by and thought, what is this? I don't understand. What are they even looking at? That's just a baby. And they're in a manger. I don't know what's going on here. Man, 33 days later, one of my favorite parts of this story was that they brought him down as she was supposed to, this young woman with a 33-year-old baby, 33-day-old baby, walked down to the temple. This temple was to be a house of prayer for all nations, a house of worship to his Father, but it became a den of thieves. They were over there exchanging money. They were selling oxen, sheep, and pigeons. They were yelling at each other and fighting and arguing, and she brought him in to dedicate him according to the law of Moses. She was probably afraid, what's going on here? I don't understand this. And I love Simeon, man. Simeon for me is every grandfather in this house, every grandfather watching. This man has been waiting for the consolation of Israel, his heart's in passion. He's been crying, when will you rend the heavens? Will you not come down? And he walked in, he saw that 33-day-old baby, took him out of his mother's arms and said, my eyes have seen thy salvation. Here he is, the hope to the Gentiles and the glory of Israel. Man, I wanted to see so much of God and so little of him. He'd show up at 12 years old for a brief moment, and we wouldn't see him for 18 years. It would be these silent years. I'm sure these shepherds were wondering, man, did we just have some bad pizza, or was it that lunch during the men's conference? I don't know. I mean, did we dream this? I mean, have you seen him? I haven't seen him. I mean, I remember we did see him as a baby, but I mean, that was, 30 years ago? But then it came this incredible moment that would change the history of the world. John would be baptizing, and he'd look up, and he'd point into the crowd, and he'd say, there he is, the Lamb of God who will take away the sins of the world. And they looked, and you see, he would come with not looks or prominence. He would come as we, made like us, looking like us. There was nothing special about him. He would even, we know from there, when he came, he wouldn't come as a king, though he was. He wouldn't come as a prince, though he was. He would come as a bondslave. He'd come to be just like his brethren. And they looked and they said, that's Joseph's son. Even though they looked at him, they could not see him. It was the beginning of the manifestation of the invisible God. He was the fullness of the Godhead revealed. He was in the image of God fully. Everything about him was God incarnate. He was the revelation of the heart of God, the passion of God. When you looked into his eyes, he wasn't angry. When you looked into his eyes, you saw a love that you never saw before. When he opened up his mouth, you heard things you never heard before. Everyone who got near him, he released them. 30 miracles are recorded. He demonstrated a power that was greater than Moses, greater than Elijah, greater than Elisha. He began to demonstrate his glory. Whoa, wait a minute. We understood glory was kavod. It was heavy, weighty. It was a thick cloud. It was darkness. No. He demonstrated by turning water into wine. You see, disciples need to see his glory because it causes us to believe him. They believed him, and he began this demonstration of power. You see, the glory of God was now in a man. It was not in a temple, nor in a tabernacle, nor in a tent. It wasn't just in some dream and some vision of some prophet. Now the glory of God was in a man. He was the express glory of his glory. He was the image and the manifestation of the glory of God. It was now in a person. It was now a person. The glory of God in him, the glory of God around him, and a power demonstrated that the world was shaken by it. The Pharisees said, he is turning the world upside down. They were right, and I believe in he will do it again. They couldn't understand how he forgave and how he would touch the sick and the sinner, that he would eat and love those who despised him. He even had one with him that from the beginning he would know for sure this man would stab him in the back and turn him over. He knew the whole time, but even throughout his life to the end, he washed the man's feet. He would be the firstborn of a race of people that never existed before. He'd be the beginning of something that was hidden in God since the beginning. He was the start of a nation. He was the firstborn of a nation of people that would dwell in every generation. They're here. They are believers. They're his. I want us to prepare for something because it's on its way. We will begin to see the revelation of Jesus Christ and the manifestation of the person of Christ within the people of God in a demonstration we have never known before. We will see him demonstrate himself in what we call these ascension gifts in a way you've never seen them before. That he will be known, and we will be known not as so much Frontier or Dr. J. Leroux, or you put your name there, but they're going to know us as you must be one of them. You've got to be those who are of the kingdom of God. You've got to be those that are of that holy nation. You are of that royal priesthood. You've got to be one of those Christians. He will be manifested and demonstrated in a way we have never known. For that to happen, the glory of God comes and reveals himself to us, and we're changed to that very same image. So I'm not working it up. I'm not trying to get somewhere and not be myself, but be him. I'm not trying to work out, well, I gotta watch my mouth now because I'm with people who know me, and I gotta have two lives like Jay LaRue here this morning, but tomorrow Jay LaRue will be at Monday at the gym. Who cares what he does? He could do whatever he wants. Oh, no. I was never intending to live like that. I'm not gonna fake this thing. I don't wanna fake this thing. I want it to be the real deal. I want it to be who we are. It has been my cry. Will you not rend the heavens? Will you not come down? Will you do something we have never seen before? And there will be a dimension of power unprecedented. The glory of God brings a power demonstration that is incredible, and a wealth that is unprecedented. The third thing, prepare for the revelation of Jesus Christ personally. As he draws near, he'll draw us to be with him, spend time with him, hearing the word like never before. It's already begun. I don't have time to talk about it. Just not going to talk about it. I know it is. Anticipate it. And I'm longing, my dream always has been that my own children, my nieces and my nephews, our nieces, our nephews, our children, my grandchildren will look at me and say, if it's at the end of my life, I don't care. I just want to hear it. You know, Grandpa, got to tell you. And I'm thinking, good preaching? No. Good prophecy? Yeah. The way I looked, stayed, looking cool in my life? No, not Grandpa, please. No, it's none of that. Really? No. I just got to tell you, we've been watching. And when we see you, we see him. I have not seen, nor ear heard. Fourth, final. It always amazes me with these 12 disciples. Don't you love them? I do. They give me hope. I mean, the last night of his life, they're arguing about who's great. I mean, hello. I mean, do that when he's not there, like us. You don't do it while he's there. I do it inside of myself. I don't know if I'm better. I don't know, Bishop Kimball, which one of us is better? I don't know, Bishop Carter, I don't know, Bishop Yeda. So which one of us? We didn't do any of that. We clung arms and blended. It was beautiful. Yeah. You're arguing, Peter cuts off his ear 50 days later. Man, I know people who haven't changed for 50 years. 50 days. All of a sudden, they're in this upper room. The apostles are having to send out the women. You will get the food because they're looking for us. They were such men. They were hiding. Yeah, hiding. You hear that? I don't know. Don't answer the door. We don't know where it's going. Send the women to get food. I'm hungry too. You just ate. I don't care. Oh, Thomas, you still don't believe? Matthew, come on, Matthew. You've been eating Rome's food. Look at you. You got a stomach that's sticking out over here. You chill out on the food. You don't get on a diet. Oh, I'm sorry, Peter, fisherman. Yak, 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 yak. Remember Jesus told me this story about when he was in the boat and you said to him, I'm a fisherman, you're a carpenter. What do you know? You remember? And he did call you a devil, right? Shut up. I told you not to bring. These are his disciples. We're going to change the world with them? Well, I guess if we are, we're going to need something beside them having power over unclean spirits and every disease and sickness, because they had that. So I'm wondering what they'll need. And all of a sudden, this wind starts to rush. And they're all filled with, which we don't know, because Jesus said, just chill out. I'm going to send the Comforter. I'm going to send the Spirit of God. He'll be with you. He'll teach you. He'll guide you. He'll be in you. And they said, whatever. Do you know what he's talking about? Not really, but it's always been like that, right? You know what he's talking about? I don't. All of a sudden, they're filled with the Spirit, and they're speaking with these other tongues. They don't even know what's happening. It's just happening. And they come out, and Peter stands, who is unlearned, doesn't know the Scripture, Galilean. Just a bit higher than the Samaritans in the views of the lower area of Israel. And he says, this is what the prophet Joel spoke about. In these last days, I'll pour my Spirit out upon your sons and your daughters, and they'll prophesy. Your old men, they won't have problems here. They'll dream dreams. And your young men, man, they'll see visions. There'll be this whole new group of people that'll happen. And watch, 3,000 people who couldn't believe Jesus said, what must we do? Inside of 4 years, 10,000 people. They stopped counting. 2 years later, it'll be 5,000 men. How many people are here? Count the people. I can't even count the people. We'll just count the men. 5,000. Could probably be 12,000. Okay, so just for a moment. This is my dream. Because I have not seen, right? Ear hasn't heard. Right? So I could just go outside of that, at least. Yeah, come on in. Pastor Steve, how you doing? Good. We got a problem. What is it now? Is it the sound? No, the sound's great. Well, would somebody not show up? Oh, no, that's not the problem. People have showed up. Well, then what's going on? Did it just go on? The music's on? No, everything's fine. But we do have a problem. What is it? Well, there's 3,000 people outside the door waiting to get in. See? Tell me right now, let's be honest, little family. How beyond us? We get 3 and we're writing it. I love it though, but that's happened. 5 people, I put on Facebook, 5 people got saved today, 10 came. See where we've been living though? I understand though, that's where we've been living. I've had to eat lamb and drink from a river and see the one face to face to realize I have not seen, nor heard, nor that I perceived, or we in our hearts what God has prepared for them that have been waiting and them that love him. I'm talking to the people who have been waiting for him and who love him. You see, the day that Jesus ascended, it was the beginning of something that was beyond belief. It was the beginning of a release of people who would be trees planted that would bring him glory and for their glory. They would be restorers of the desolation, the repairers of the desolated cities. They would once again raise up the former desolations. They would be a kingdom of priests unto the Lord. They would be the ministers of their God. That would be the beginning. Then they would be a people that would change the world forever. There would be an outpouring of the Spirit. The prophet Joel's context is a priesthood would awaken and would cry out to God, spare thy people, O God. let not thy inheritance be given to the heathen, for they say, where's your God? And the Lord says this, when I hear that, I will change everything. I'll restore the years, the locust, the canker, and the caterpillar, and the palmer of Eden. I will cause the former and the latter rain to come in the first month. I will cause your vats to be full. I'll cause your silos to be full. I have the wheat, the wine, and the oil in abundance. The prophet is speaking this while there's nothing. It's a devastation. It is a locust devastation. After all that restoration, when all that's done, I'll pour out my spirit upon your sons and your daughters, and they will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams, and your young men will see visions. Listen, let me just finish with this. That's why the writer to the Corinthians says it this way. If the princes of this world had known, if they had known that when they crucified him and he died and he resurrected and ascended, if they had known what he started, they would have never crucified the Lord of glory. We're living in a moment of time when he has begun to unveil his ultimate intention for our generation. It isn't a day nor a visitation. I don't even want to use the word revival because it has a connotation, always has been, of a time beginning and time ending. No, this is a change worldwide that is already happening to us. His voice, the glory of God, the manifestation of Jesus Christ, and an outpouring of his Spirit. I last with the outpouring of his Spirit because it's the fourth one. I want us this morning to begin to believe for an outpouring of his Spirit as a nation of priests, that we would cry out that you'd pour your Spirit upon us. Our sons and daughters got to have it. Our universities has to have it. Our schools have to have it. But that's his intent. That's in his heart. Stand with me for a moment. I just want to quote it again. I love it. Not that part, but when you came down, we did not expect you to be or do this. So I've been texting him and my pastor friends and my bishop friends and my apostolic and prophetic friends, all my pastor friends, even my cousin Paul, who is a pastor. And I've said this, I'm believing our awesome God to do and to be things unprecedented. So can we believe it for ourselves this morning? For our families, which that includes my siblings, which are my father's children, my children, your children, my grandchildren, your grandchildren, nieces and nephews. Can we this morning stand believing it? I've had this travailing cry and this continual fast since I was 23 years old. For my family, or for the ones I know, because of the way we were going. It used to be, oh God. Now it's become, oh God. So Father, this morning I've already asked for the revelation of Jesus Christ and the revelation of the kingdom of God. I know you hear and I know you're doing it. So let us all, with open face, beholding as it were in a mirror the glory of the Lord, that we're changed to that very same image from glory to glory by the Spirit of the Lord. That we all will gain the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. For that to be, we've got to behold him. We have to see him. I know it's your passion that as he was and as he is, so shall we be. It's my dream, it's my cry, it's my one real hope that you are manifested to us, in us, and through us. So, Father, I thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen. How about giving the Lord a hand for me, amen? Please sit, please. So maybe 12. That'd be fine. I need a little bit of it has to be warm, though. Are we okay? That was fun for me, so I hope you didn't mind. So there is a fountain of the great deep here. It flows all the way back to the earliest days and the earliest declarations, not just over this church and this ministry, but even the founding fathers of this city dedicated it, that it would be toward the kingdom of God. But over time, the Lord has declared things. Unfortunately, to find the fountain of the great deep, there's always a searching for it. And I love this because in many places I'll stand and what's underneath or what's hidden is going to remain hidden. And for me, sometimes that's a difficult thing. It might be gold, silver, precious stones, as many things, because that is his desire, that has been his intent. And sometimes it's under us. Usually it's hidden. It's one of the three waters in Noah's time period, but it's the hidden part. It's the one you search for, you have to mine for. It's the one you long for. Sometimes people they're satisfied with just a water, or just a simple water, but there's this cry. And so the Lord brought you here, and he's about to unearth this fountain of the great deep. It is connected all the way back to the earliest prophetic words. You said one yesterday, that it would be a multicultural church and that it would be, but there's also been these other things I want to say. There's also a real cry for the supernatural in this river. Though there was a portion of it, very small, because of the overall day of the Lord that was at this time period, it was held. There was only a portion of it. That's in this river. But there's also this place here where there was this incredible believing for God to touch the authorities within the city. Not just the wealth of the city, not just the bankers, but really the highest places. And that even the governor of the state would be involved. They weren't so much America, the whole nation, but definitely this region, especially this county, but also for this state, it's in here as well. The other part that I love is there was always this cry for the children and the teens, the young people, the generations, the older generations live for them. And so you're going to see the Lord begin to open us up, and all of these things he's bringing up so they will be manifested within the church, within the community. So this is the beginning of the enlargement of the Lord. I can see, so with me, you know this. If I said enlargement a year ago or 2 years ago, this is just an enlargement of the enlargement. It's just a continual. So you're at this point of enlargement. Much of that is carried out because of faithfulness. We don't know so much what faithfulness will bring, and so I've got to be faithful. We have to be faithful in every season, every time period, every dimension, every glory. I got to be faithful in every level. That constitutes much the next dimension, the next level. And so because of it, the Lord is going to expand, enlarge this thing. And so it's not only just going to be with the people. It's not just going to be the supernatural. I'm glad you got a youth building because you're going to need that. Then the kids are going to come over here and have to have their own service eventually, very large. Inside of this thing, you will have the young Davids, the young Esthers, the young Nehemiahs, especially the builders. You're going to have those. There'll be a portion of the Daniels, but the thing that the Lord's going to do is he's going to make the prophetic kids, the prophetic people, the prophet people, very, very sharp. They're not going to just be here and there. It's going to be very exact, very crystal clear. And so there won't be many of them because there'll be those who will flow in prophecy, but there's going to be very tight range of the prophetic people. There'll be some apostolic, but they'll be a lot older by that time. Some of these things are criteria. Some things are to be this way. It's just the order of the Lord. But God also is going to expand the team and enlarge the team for you. He's going to bring in a larger place. Even with the two of you, with her, there's this expanding of the mantle already. There was a time period in our lives when the mantle was expanding. We would hear from particular prophetic people, and it was starting to encompass Linda and enlarge over this way. And so you'll see with her, it will beginning this pastoral, which was in you always from the beginning, but the teacher is really embracing her. And then there'll be this expanding out, even though the apostolic thing, and you have to know this about me, and I know you do, but I want to say it overall, especially here. I'm not big on these terms because I understand purpose, setting, calling. I understand those things, but they can't have the precedent. It's really the character. You understand this. And so what the Lord's doing is he'll expand that dimension, and that'll encircle all of your people. It'll be an apostolic place, if you will. Not so much Jerusalem, more Antioch. So there's a difference between the two of those. You understand that language. And so the Lord will begin to do those things. There'll be prophet and teachers there. There'll be this involvement. And God is going to really give you a rest that you haven't known for some time. The day of Moses is over, even though you grew up in that time period, especially for you here. Just a rest where you're not wondering in the middle of the night how things are going to be, how things are going to go. You won't have those sleepless times of wondering and tense of, will it be up, or who am I going to face, or what's the phone's going to ring, who's not going to be there, who's going to be angry, who's not there. Some people think you don't think like that. Some people think that you're immune to that. Some people think you wear a callus on your back. But I'll tell them and you that's not true. Because your heart is tender, very tender toward people, very tender toward the races, very tender toward the young and the old. But the spirit of the age has worked to make you have to stand. It's worked against you and tried to make you stand for yourself, but you resisted it and resisted it. They never realized that you're in that battle, and you resisted and resisted and resisted it because you wouldn't make a stand and say, I'm here, and everybody better back off and back away, just to keep sometimes the heart from being so ripped and torn. And so the Lord has intervened, and he stayed that voice. It has come to an end. The Lord is standing up in his holy habitation. When he does, amen, thanks. When he does, what happens, though, is the earth grows silent. Only he can bring a silence to that world. Only he brings a silence to those voices. Sometimes, even if I cast them, command them, they'd still come for some reason. They're just there. Something God has to do, as he did for Joshua. He just said, listen, I rebuke you, Satan. It's over. I don't care who's guilty. I don't care who's unguilty. That has to happen. The Lord has already done it. That's why the team's expanding. And listen, there's going to be some return of the old teammates. Do not feel obligated to reset them. Let the Lord have his way within them. Don't feel the pressure of having to reset them. Some will get reset, some will not. And this will be a pattern for over the decades. I'm 40 years ahead at this moment. So you'll have these patterns that will happen at times. So you'll rest by this word to say, okay, it's all right, because the Lord's enlarging, and there's just not time. I sometimes think about Moses, not about your own children, Moses' kids. They weren't the leaders. Caleb's kids weren't the leaders. Caleb wasn't the leader. I so love all that. And so the Lord will sometimes use people where other people will not understand why. And the Lord will settle this with you, but you won't have that bitter fighting, that angry, that war, that backbiting, that back-talking, that sowing, all that the Lord's bringing to an end and a close. And you have to know this, though. These things he doesn't tell me or talk to me about. So just so that you know that you think that he's talking to me or the people that are in his staff, or that we don't talk about these things. He doesn't talk about anything. I have lived the loneliest life because nobody talks to me. When I come to churches, I sit in my room and twiddle my thumbs. Can we have a conversation? I can't talk to you now. Great. On the way to the airport, though, just so you'll know. But the Lord already is expanding your stature, my brother. And so it is a day, couple things. It's a day of rest. It also is a day to draw away, to be with the Lord. He wants to increase personal time with you, increase personal time with the both of you. He wants to make himself known in a way you've not known him. He wants to cause this text to come alive in places he hasn't. I love this about God. He's just that way. He waits. He's the one who still has to open up the text. He has to open up. He's the revelator of all things. He's the eye opener. He's the one who makes things known. And he's going to begin because he wants to adjust the pattern. He wants to adjust some of the future events. He wants to, so like this building project, this is going to one day just so go away. You'll think, man, that was child's play. I mean, that was just the beginning of all things, because that is not going to be the pattern, but the continual building and reconstructing will be the pattern. The continual growing will be the pattern. And so I said this because I want you to know that the Lord is really advancing you in the kingdom at this time. The time has come, and you're just incredibly amazing. I can remember everything I've ever spoken over you, and you've never bucked a moment, which is unbelievable. You don't even whisper in his ear, and you have his ear. When am I going to do? I see everybody getting hands laid on them, blah, 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 blah. But the day has arrived where the Lord is establishing you as part of the pastoral team, and I send this by him first, because I would never say this without it being passed by him first. Part of the pastoral team, part of not just the women's group, but part of the handling of the word, handling of the scripture, because your heart is so in the hand of the Lord. It is so tenderized by him. You're so last on your list that you're not even on the list. You're so last on the list. And you'd rather live to support him and to support the people than to ever be on the front lines of anything. And so the Lord is doing this because he's invested much. You come from a people of God. Your people are of God. And so he wants to really open up where the men have had the greater voices within your personal family, but now the Lord is really switching that over. Not that the men won't, but the ladies are going to be articulate declarers of the word of God. And you really become the very beginning of something. It's already in this young one up here. It's already in her. But he's doing this within you. And so this is an absolute great day of the Lord. He'll provide the finances for college. He'll provide the finances for your lives. He'll provide the finances for you to own your own home. It is a day this comes so that you'll believe God for the things that were not believable for yourselves. And this has been very personal here because he wants you to be able to vacation, rest, go have fun, laugh, enjoy yourselves, go play golf if you want with Paul, do whatever you want to do. I mean, just that this kind of liberty he wants to bring, and the staff will come alongside. I know this, I would really hold this word back from you if I felt in any way that the two of you would take advantage of that and let everybody slave in here 50 hours a week and you just never came into the office, didn't do nothing, just commanded. I would hesitate to do this. He'd have to make me say it. And we never have that relationship, he and I, at all. It's never like that. It's a liberty. I have a liberty. And so I want you to know that God is going to do this because he wants to really release the heavy burden and the heavy yoke off your lives so that you can really run free. Even now, he's touching your knees, your hips, and your back because of the pressure that's been on you. Just the weight of it, though. You've said to her, I feel like I'm 10 years older than I am. And so the Lord's just physically touching you so that you would have a liberty and a freedom to run the race with joy. That's his intent, not with burden. Amen. So God has made a very large hole here. And he's in the process of transplanting the tree. Every good horticulture guy, every good person who transplants trees, I only know this because I've had to study it. What he does, though, is he knows he has to slowly unearth the tree in its natural habitat and make sure he takes root and terra firma from the place it grew. But when he brings it to a new place, he makes the hole much larger than that the tree can handle. It's almost like the tree feels like it could fall either way. It almost feels larger than it should be. But he does this so the tree can grow and be enlarged and have a greater root system and reach deeper places than the tree ever thought he could reach. And so the Lord's done this with you. He's in the process of transplanting you fully from that one location, one terra firma, to this terra firma. It is here, even in larger, just in the area, but especially here. And you see the Lord's already begun to do it so that your fruitfulness will be beyond what you ever thought it would be. It would be greater than you could have ever imagined. Eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, nor perceived in your hearts that which the Lord has prepared for those who have been waiting for him and for those who love him. It has already begun. It'll encompass your family. It'll have influence upon everybody around you. And the Lord is going to bring a liberty where there's not a fear to wait on him, that you won't be concerned about how will this get here? How will this get here? That it'll let you rest and say, you know what? I'm the son of the Lord. I'm the Lord's son. I'm the Lord's daughter. He's our Father. He'll provide for us. I'm his son. The word of God abides in me. I've overcome the wicked one. And he's intending to make you fathers and mothers so that you'll know him who's from the beginning, that you might influence the young men and the young women and influence both of you, not just one, both of you, influence the young women, influence the children that they might know the Father, that they might trust him. It is larger than you can believe, and it'll never feel tight or tense or forced or pushed upon, or having to squeeze me into a small space. It's always this way. It's so large that when a tree gets in it thinks, oh my gosh, how long will it take to fill? But the one who transplants them knows exactly the size and exactly the fruitfulness. That you can trust. So I love laboring people. I just do. Just one of those things with me. I'm attracted to them. I'm attracted to laborers. And I've always been attracted to, well, one woman. But women in general, because of this reason, because they have a womb. I don't have that. And so when my daughter was pregnant and my daughter-in-law was pregnant and nieces are pregnant now, and we're starting to get this. I love it. I always say, how does it feel? And they'll go, oh. And I go, ooh, yeah. I said, and then when they get to the end, I go, this has got to, but it's amazing to me that they are so willing to wait. As a male, I don't do wait. I want it now. And there's nothing in my life that can't try to have it or have it. And there's something about that seed and that birthing. You have to wait. There's a time. I've come to love that. I've come to appreciate it. I've come to know that I need to learn to wait, because some things I've aborted early. Some things I still born by myself. Others abort. They say, Jay, that's not real. And I said, yeah, you're right. And out of what? And so I've had to learn to wait on the seed of God. I've learned to wait on God to keep his word, to keep his promise. I had to just wait. And I've so appreciated your willingness to wait. Oh, many times I would drive away from here and everybody is gone, but you'd be standing out here. And there were people who love you, even your own family, who were waiting for you. But you still would wait to be so faithful. And so the Lord, more than me, was watching. It's amazing. He was peering out of the heavens and looking down, and his heart was going, ba-boom, ba-boom. He was doing this in his throne. He doesn't just sit up there. Yeah. Worthy is the Lamb. You hear that, Jesus? Worthy is the Lamb. Aren't those kids doing it good? Yeah. Oh yeah. If you think we're jacked, he's the jack of the jacks. He's the awe of the awe, bomb of the bomb, the dude of the dude, the stud of the stud, the man of the men. Oh, he's the all in all, baby. He's the dreamer. Look at us. And so you can begin to look toward the heavens in a way you never have. Because the Lord is going to strengthen your womb to believe for every seed that's been spoken, especially for your family, especially for the ones that you love. And there's times that I've stretched it a little too far and I needed to kind of get back with my family, or Linda and I got too busy. We had to kind of there's always those times where we either fell behind a little bit or stretched out. That's normal. That's okay. The Lord is very good at just getting us back in. That's good. But this is the waiting for the Lord to do the thing he wants to. So my sister, you have to know that. And really, much of it has to do with what the Lord is doing in a full way. But you're going to see God do, which is not possible. Only he can take cataracts and boof, open them up. And so sometimes we have family members that only see through a hole like that, and they don't really get the whole picture, and only the Lord can open that up. And so you're going to see the Lord boof the eyes. I'm not going to say who or the individuals. I can, but I'm not going to, because I just want you to believe for it, and you'll just give him glory, and you'll say, okay, let's just get back into where we're going and begin moving on. So it's just a good day for you to believe God, hold on to his word, and just believe that God will fulfill the things he said he will do. 12 o'clock. Are you okay? It's 12, so I don't want to overwork you. Yeah. So beautiful. So now, are you in any relation to him? Or his daughter? Husband? You kidding? Well, he's gotten a lot older since the first day. He said, no. Yeah. Okay, yes, you're taking great. Yeah, no. You didn't think I'd leave you out. No, I can't do that. You heard with him is beautiful. Okay, good. You're so sweet. Wow. I mean, you got more than you can handle, but you're doing good. Yeah, so, and I, there's this place with the two of you that I want you to know that the Lord is really, and has you in different schools. Sometimes that's a little difficult, though. Sometimes there's families I'll look, and the husband's got the call of God, the wife doesn't. It's not a problem. It's just it's not a problem, you know. But in this case, they're both. And so, well, Linda and I was something that we really had to learn because we love being yoked together, linked together. But she had to let me go, and I had to let her go. I think it was some ways harder for me to let her go, to be his, so that he could have his full work in her, his full work in me. We were careful to guard ourselves. We couldn't, it wasn't a normal life. You know, we just couldn't always do this on this week, do this on that week. There were things that the Lord was just doing and using with us. We just didn't realize it. And so we cherish these days that we're together now because it was that time period. My family, my cousins over there, they went through much of that same thing. You just feel like when am I going to see you, when it's going on? And so we get caught up in the world system. But don't do that because the hand of the Lord is upon you in a different way than it is upon him. But it's on the two of you for purpose and ultimate intention in the kingdom to be handlers of the word. And I love this about you because you're really, there is an element that you're both strong and shy at the same time. There's an element within you that he knows this. He's got this gentle woman. He's got this tiger. Lion and lamb, I should say. That would be the best way to do it. At the same time, sometimes he doesn't know what he's going to get. It depends on how he behaves, usually. He's afraid of the lion and he loves the lamb, but he's not sure sometimes. Yeah. This kind of duality, they're going to think you're schizophrenic, but you're not. No, just that they don't understand. You can't get it. Yeah. But it's but what the Lord's doing, he's blending them. Because you have a demonstration of Jesus Christ because he is both lion and lamb. So I have these emotions and this power and this strength and this tenderness. So you're in this place like that. And so the Lord is going to do this. He can't change you. You can't change him. We make suggestions. We do things. We pat on the back. We encourage. Sometimes we boss around. It's part of life, part of being married. It's all those things together. But young lady, listen, the Lord is about to move in your direction to make this a very personal thing, a secret place to draw you in to begin to see him and hear him. Man, I'll tell you, looking into your eyes, I see into your mom's life, your grandmother's life, and your great-grandmother's life, and in the lives of your mother, your grandmother especially, your grandmother, your mother, yes, but your grandmother had a passion for holiness and a passion for the heart of God and the will of God, and she lived in very difficult circumstances. You said in your mind, I'll never marry a man like my grandfather, and you didn't because of how it was. But girl, that the Lord is answering all of that within your eyes. So understand this. When the Lord makes an investment, he intensifies the work. And so sometimes I would sometimes think, man, how come the pressure's on me like this? How come he gets to do that? She gets to do that. It was okay. I began to understand it's because the Lord's made that kind of investment. So I was thankful for the investment. I understood, though, that he was working the vessel with all these different ways and these different time periods and so on and so forth, which I don't want to touch at this point or need to say at this point. But just know that sometimes when it feels unjust or it feels unrighteous, it feels like, you know what, why is the pressure on me like this? Why am I feeling like this is, what about her? What about her? Don't go there. Keep your eyes on him. Set your eyes upon him. I mean, Joseph should have thought that. Moses should have thought that. David should have thought that. Esther should have thought that. Ruth should have thought that. There's reasons why they could have, but they didn't. They kept their eyes on him, and they didn't measure their circumstances as being right or wrong. They just were measuring as his. I'm his. And so do that because the Lord one day, I'm going to be very careful with this though, but there's a day, the one day that the Lord will want to establish the two of you in your own place, your own ministry, your own setting. That's in time ways. That's Bishop's thing. But you're one of the couples that he's really intending to, when you place it, you'll carry this terra firma with you. And the Lord will be with you as he's been with Bishop and his family. He'll be with your family the same way. And that's why the submission, that's why sometimes the struggles, that's why this feels like there's a high demand upon you because the Lord wants to make that level of investment into your lives. Weren't you standing up there the whole time? Were you standing back there, over there, near the door? Was that you? I thought so. You should shave that off. That's okay. So, my brother, listen, love and appreciate your heart. You know, if we look back at your life, you would say, you know, Jay, there's nothing I really want to talk about in my life. There hasn't been a whole lot really that I'm proud of, and there's not been a whole lot that I've really accomplished. And the truth is, though, I'd rather not talk about it because of the shame, and you just not want to say the things that took place and the people, the woundedness that has been left behind, and the individuals. I have them that I wish I can go back and make that right. You just have this roadway of just broken places, broken vessels, broken relationships. And even in your own life, by the time you got to 12 years old, you were already having to fight your way out of everything, having to, just the way you grew up, just household, everything was just that way. And you've kept it in. And there was a time when anger so ruled you, you made your own prison. You didn't need a prison, you were in such a prison. But the Lord looked down and He always had mercy upon you. He always did. And He was just waiting. There were times that He intervened for you when you didn't realize it because there was a day that He would come to you. And so He had saved your life. Really, two occasions where He really rescued you out of a real dark place and out of real darkness where your life would have been taken through means that I don't need to say at this point. You're here. But God really has come, and you're at the beginning of the redemption. You're just thankful the Lord has taken you in. But my brother, this comes. See, he doesn't, it's beautiful. He doesn't just come just to reconcile and redeem a portion of my life. You know, there was a day that there was a man called Mephibosheth. He sat at David's table, but his feet were broken. So even though he was at the king's table, he could never walk or never run. Well, that's not what our Lord does. He not only brings us to His table, allows us to eat of His table, He brings the food, handles our affairs, handles everything about us, but He wants to reconstruct our feet that we might walk again, that we might run like we've never run again. He has come to fully redeem, fully reconcile, fully restore. And so this comes to help you to believe God that He would, how is it possible that a Father who I never knew could love me this way, a Father who knows me would be willing to love me this way, a Father that has every idea and every knowing of what I've done could possibly love me this way. I want you to know, brother, the Lord has already begun He's already begun that level of restoration in your life, that level of recovery, so that you might be willing to begin to forgive in a deep way the people who have disappointed you, who have spoken against you, and have uttered things to you that have been so injurious that at times in the middle of the night, they literally take your breath away when you think about them, that you would be willing to release them, that you could be a free man walking in a freedom that you have never known in your life. Oh, the little. I'm getting direction. I just want you to know that I'm the head of my household. Linda's the neck. You know, the neck. This one? The glasses. That one. Oh, okay. How you doing? Don't be afraid. You're making me nervous. Does this one belong to you? Who's that? Coworker. Hey, glad to have you. First time? Good, dude. Love it. Coworker. How are you? Are you with them? No? Love the hair. I said the girl with the big hair back there. I love the hair. Yeah, but I love everybody's hair. Even this hair right here. I love that hair. Yeah. Um. So this is your. Yeah. Hey. Jay. Love the hair. My sister, listen. Uh, life has been for you. I don't like dusk or dawn much. Part of the reason is, though, I don't know if the sun's rising or setting. I like sunshine. I like the light. When it's dusk or dawn, everything's not clear. I trip up. I bump into things. I fall. I'm always afraid because I don't know what's around the next corner. I don't know what I'm going to face. Your whole life, even since you were young, was living in that kind of atmosphere. You're never really sure if the sun was setting or rising. You're never sure if the sun was going to arise again or set again. You just didn't know. It's amazing that you survived, really. There's several things I would not say, I would never say. But I want you to know that the Lord is tender-hearted toward your life experiences. I would always know this, that the Lord's, He's able to restore the things that have been taken from me. But I never thought He would restore the things that I gave away, because there are certain parts of my life and certain events in my life that I gave things away that I wish I never did. I regretted it. And even those things, He went back and He bought them back for me. Not only the things taken and stolen, my youthfulness, my young life, some areas of my youth and areas of my personal life, my person, I gave away or they were taken away. And I've lived in regret of those things. Only the Lord would be willing to go back and purchase those back for me so that I would live free. And my sister, it's like your womb is full of scar tissue because of the way life's been. It just has with the pains of life, the things that have happened. Sometimes hopes are aborted, dreams are aborted, belief in people are aborted, or they're stillborn. It causes these within our lives, these scarrings, these scar tissues. There's always this pain within us about events of the past, and you've lived with this your entire life. I mean, you have them early as 11, 12 years old, back to that point, to this very, not so much to this very day, but even back 3 years ago. The last 3 years, life has changed, but 3 years part of that all the way back. And isn't it beautiful when the Lord began to draw you with such tender mercy? He was intending to bring healing and wholeness to your life in a way you never thought possible. The truth is, though, the women in your life have all gone through this. It's just been this following thing with the ladies especially, to a degree the men, but especially the ladies. They're just so, and the amazing thing is just like you just want to be loved and cared for. That's it. You weren't asking for a lot. You weren't asking for a big house, big car, big everything. You just want to be cared for and loved. And you know what, my sister? You're awesome. But many times, unfortunately, men don't always see it that way. Sometimes even fathers don't see it that way. But I want you to know, my sister, the Lord is restoring dignity, restoring strength. It's not so much that He restores my pride, but the truth is I can't love anyone if I can't love myself. And so the Lord is restoring these things back to your life so that you will love yourself, that you will be satisfied, that you won't walk into the room and think, oh my God, what do they see? How do they see? What are they looking at? Do I got to be somebody that I'm not? Oh, no, 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 no. Sure, all of us have to make changes. If I could grow my hair and put it up like this, I would. But unfortunately, some things I can't do. But I could do certain things to change my own life. I could do certain things to discipline or work or personal. But there are some things that only God can do. And young lady, God is not moving in a still wind. The Lord's moving in a whirlwind. And you're going to see the Lord begin to remove the things that are around you that you can't control, that control you. You're going to see Him just separate them. It's going to be like, whoa, the Lord just brought an end to that. And at the same time, bring into your life the things that you need to stand strong and believe, to believe for your home, to believe for your future. You don't realize it now, young lady, but I just want to say it to you again. Just look at me in my eyes. I just want you to know again, no, from the heart of the Lord, you're amazing, beautiful, gorgeous. He designed you, made you. Look at that beautiful face, that beautiful hair, that beautiful personality. You're awesome. And it doesn't mean you walk around out of the church in the parking lot. Well, you could do it a little bit and just go, yeah, that's right, I'm awesome. That's right, I'm awesome. I'm awesome. You could do it a little bit, and you could say that, but this is to encourage your heart and spirit that has been so broken. just to revive and restore it again. It's from the inside that we live. It's that life source from the inside. And God is reaching in right now with his hand, and he's causing things to be healed and made whole. He's removing all the scar tissue that it is be as though your womb was virgin. That's exactly what he's doing, that you might be able to live free and live for God and not fear yesterday, today, or tomorrow. Amen. Please stand with me. Thank you, Bishop. When you came down, we had not anticipated it would be in such a way. I have not seen, nor ear heard, nor has entered into the heart of men that which he hath prepared from the beginning of the world for them who have been waiting and who love him. We together declare yes to all that you have said, all that you have dreamed, all that you have declared. We say yes to it. We long for you. Will you not rend the heavens? Will you not come down? Will you cause even your adversaries to see your face, that through your face your name will be known, and the nations of the world shall once again tremble at the face of the Almighty. Father, we thank you for that. We believe it. In Jesus' name, amen.